Oh, I was here. The music ended. I hope the music didn't end too long ago. I was standing here reading chat, just kind of. I was hovering like this, and I did not have my headphones in. Did not realize the music was over. So, yes. Frostback Mountains. We're here to meet the dwarves. This is our last treaty. We've already cashed in our treaties with Dalish, with the pages, even woken Arl Eamon from his poisoned slumber. Secured his help, although his help's a little different. What we're here for now. Blight. Gather the army. Paragon of her kind. Gain Orzamar's aid in battling the Blight. Need to travel deep underground to the fabled dwarven city of Orzammar. Why did they say fabled? I guess they didn't call it a myth, but fables aren't necessarily untrue, are they? Poor use of fabled. Arr, arr. It always seemed weird to me that this is the first thing you run into. It's just over the hill, it's not hostile. Or a little ways up. The warden, the bounty hunter, and one of these bounty hunters is a mage. They all say bounty hunter, but one of them's nasty. She goes first.
Loghain sends his regard.
Alistair went down.
Try not to look too incompetent. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I guess what I'm wondering is what's the proper definition of fabled if it doesn't imply something being a story and presumably not true.
I shall do it.
So those bounty hunters on the doorstep weren't upsetting anyone here. They were just waiting for us, I guess. No dialogue or anything like when you get to Lothering, the bandits try to fleece you for some coin.
Like foxes. He didn't. He did, and he's proud of it too. Says that the other Bannerlord are going to get the same.
I can't believe that. That's not right.
I didn't get into this business to sit on my goods.
What business are you in?
So, let me get this straight. You were a cloistered sister?
You must have been a brother before you became a Templar, no?
I never actually became a Templar. I was recruited into the Grey Wardens before I took my final vows.
Do you ever regret leaving the Chantry?
No, never. Do you?
Yes. You may not believe it, but I found peace there. The kind of peace I've never known.
It used to get so quiet at the monastery that I would start screaming until one of the brothers came running. I would tell them that I was just checking. You never know, right?
No, I never did anything like that. I enjoyed the quiet.
Suit yourself. The look on their face was always priceless.
Usually you hear that dialogue back in Lothering a long, long time ago. Been wondering where the banter between party members has been for the past couple streams. We didn't seem to hear any. And we get here, and it kicks back in like we would have heard days ago. Ascat, Thank you for looking it up. And Joe, yeah, I like that description. Story you can receive a lesson from, but if it's... Seems that fiction is implied. Doesn't seem like that was well used. The fabled dwarven city that is totally real and everyone knows is real, and there are dwarves selling goods from that city all over the lands, but the city is fabled! No big deal. It's just weird.
You wish to talk to me? Truly, it's a courtesy for one so well-armed to notice a lowly merchant.
Live on the surface?
Someone has to. Trade with other races can dry up. We surfacers are Orzamar's lifeline, even if we're denied a caste. The Assembly says we've turned our back on the stone, but they still use the goods we bring. Hypocrites.
That's not right. Someone should do something.
Maybe it'll change by the time my children are grown.
How often do you restock?
Twice a year. I'm confined to a trade stall in the Commons, but I see enough. It's very closed in. My grandfather says I've lost my stone sense. I was born topside. I don't remember having it. Best of luck to you.
Half conversation, and he's not a functional merchant. What I was going to say before Alistair and Eliana started talking was that this area has always felt unfinished to me. Seems like it could be a functional bazaar, but the NPCs mostly don't have anything to say. A couple of them do, but it doesn't really go anywhere. There are a couple little things here. One of the deserters from the side quest that we picked up in Denerim. Surface dwarves.
Let kings fight over kings. Trade needs to flow.
Yes?
It's another deserter in really shiny armor.
Oh? What was this about?
I'm here to bring you in for desertion.
I worried this might happen. I hoped it wouldn't be you who came for me.
Exactly the same
But I have
dialogue
no
as the last
choice.
deserter.
Forgive
I had
me,
hoped
Warden,
it wouldn't be you
but
who
I
came for
cannot
me.
go back with you.
Lazy side questing. Okay. I don't think we'll ever get that update remake, but it would be a beautiful thing.
As you say.
I think Orzammar was done fairly well, but the outside here is always felt a little unfinished.
Can I interest you in something? I've got the finest selection of previously owned armor and weaponry this side of Val Royeaux.
Previously owned?
Why pay through the nose for new equipment when you can buy like new for much, much less?
And where do you get the like new stuff from?
Oh, here and there. Look, that's really not important. The important thing is, it's cheap. And just as good as what you'd find at a smithy.
See?
Oh, of course. And remember, everything's covered by Farron's 24-hour lifetime guarantee.
24-hour lifetime guarantee. But wait, there's more. Grandmaster Silverite rune. Markable topaz gift. Portrait of a goose girl. Not really. Shadow Dragon, I've never used traps, salves, bombs, poison. Never really did. Why they're not... Not sure why they're not interesting to me in this game, and maybe they would be if I really tried them. I think it has to do with... it's not that I'm trying to do less and keep things simple in terms of not having 5 more things to juggle in combat. Sometimes I don't want more things to juggle, but that's not the real reason. I want swords, arrows, spells. I don't really want to line the ground with traps and put... I mean, like, even in The Witcher, where you put oils on your weapon. I got used to it. It was fine as part of the game. I love the game. I didn't mind doing that. But I don't particularly fancy buffing my weapons for particular enemy classes before each fight. It's just, I don't know, it's not like an exciting part of the game for me. And then trapping the ground. I'm not sure there's any game where I ever wanted to trap the ground. You know that new game, the Technomancer from Spider Studios? They had Bound by Flame. I remember a forced trap to ground sequence in Bound by Flame where they're teaching you how to use the traps, but you're gonna get attacked or you have to go lay out all these traps. I'm going, really? Is this gonna be a thing throughout the game? Do I have to lay traps everywhere? I don't want to lay traps everywhere.
Vieta, this land is held in trust for the sovereign dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
AG, are you off? Fell asleep in front of the PC must be a sign for you to go to bed. I think it is. Have a great weekend if we don't see you. Or come by, say hi tomorrow if you're still there. Sleep well. Alien Moore asks, what? Alien Moore, you're trying to put that one on me. That's such a weird request. Your friends say you are. I can't address that the way you're asking me to because you're putting me in a weird position. Why do you... I'm more curious. I'm gonna answer your request with a question. Why do your friends say that? I'm curious. I want to know. Weird. It's one of my favorite games, Black Plague, and it's the very first game I streamed on Twitch last year. Urgent need to talk to your king.
Who doesn't? If I don't get in, no one should.
That's not how it
Orzammar
works.
has no king. Endrin Iduken returned to the stone not 3 weeks ago, sick over the loss of his sons. The Assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
I'm a Grey Warden, and this treaty obliges Orzammar to aid.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly
Shush!
doomed Ferelden.
Shush,
They're
guy.
sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And a foreigner? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden.
That's enough. Raise your blade if you're so tough. Loghain is the traitor who killed King Cailan at Ostagar by betraying him, by walking away. Run to your false king. Dwarves will not hear him today.
You'll hear of this. King Loghain will see you quartered.
King Loghain. King Loghain.
You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden. Though I don't know what help you will find.
Get off my lawn! Wow.
Atrost follow, Warden. Your arrival is a mixed blessing. We prefer that outsiders not witness our infighting, but your presence will be tolerated.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Fair journeys, Warden.
Those statues are dwarven paragons, if I remember right. The best of their ancestors.
It's talking about the big statues. Right. Oh, these statues. These are the paragons. Paragon Bemont. Paragon Garol.
Spare a few bits for an old man.
They have a beggar asking for coin, and you can't give him coin. A little weird. The Paragons. I've seen you at the meetings. The Paragons. As I studied among the dwarves, I became aware that their social system was as rigid as the stone that surrounded them. From the lowest servant to the King of Orzammar, each dwarf has a caste, a rigid social standing. Dictates what he may do and how he may do it. What fascinated me then was that the dwarves, stubborn and proud as they may be, have built in a way for even the lowliest dwarf to bypass the caste system and reach prominence. Any dwarf who has made an achievement of significance can be named Paragon, elevating that dwarf above all others. To become a Paragon is to be recognized as, essentially, a living ancestor. Your words are considered ineffable, and the dwarves liken you unto a god. Your family, those you choose to ascend with you, become the founders of a new line of nobility. Indeed, every existing noble house among the dwarves traces its line back to a founding paragon. It is a rare thing, however. In my visit, I learned that only one paragon has been elected in generations, the smith Branka, exalted for her discovery of smokeless coal. I met the paragon Branka only once during my stay, and I consider it an odd occasion indeed. Surrounded by those of her house, this ill-tempered woman was draped in the finest clothing and jewelry, and was obviously revered even above the highest nobles, perhaps even above the king. Yet she seemed to enjoy none of it. The burden of being a living legend is great, it appears. Statues of the paragons are found throughout Orzammar, though nowhere so prominently as in the Hall of Heroes, through which one passes on entering from the surface. It is a breathtaking sight to behold, great works of stone, all seeming to hold up the ceiling above. It is meant to impress upon visitors to Orzammar of all who have gone before, I think. It is also meant to remind dwarves going to the surface, and thus abandoning their brethren forever, of all they are leaving behind.
Very well.
So you don't get separate entries for
Now
these paragons.
that's a thing of beauty, daughter. If you work hard like Branka, all Orzammar will know your name.
Mother, I don't want to be like her. She...
Don't say that! Not to me, not to anyone. Now get back to the forge. I want to see more details.
Yes, Mother.
Show respect, Surfacer. You're in the Hall of Heroes, home to the best of us.
Figures are quite grand indeed.
Paragons, dwarves who achieve such greatness, they're considered ancestors even if they yet walk among us. If only we had one now. A unifier. A voice like that, there would be no dissension.
So find one. Think I could help? This is not the key to give. I don't think I've ever spoken with this guy before.
Perhaps I don't want you to. A surfacer should not see us in this kind of disarray. Goodbye, Warden. I hope you're not needed.
Too late.
What was that soup you made for supper last night?
Oh, that's a traditional Ferelden lamb and pea stew. Do you like it?
Oh, so it was lamb then. It had a certain texture I don't normally associate with lamb.
They didn't make lamb and pea stew for you in Lothering?
We ate simply there. Whole grains made into biscuits or bread, and vegetables from the garden, cooked lightly. No heavy stews.
Ah, so the last lamb you had was probably cooked Orlesian style. Food shouldn't be frilly and pretentious like that. Now, here in Ferelden, we do things right. We take our ingredients, throw them in the largest pot we can find, and cook them for as long as possible until everything is a uniform grey color. As soon as it looks completely bland and unappetizing, That's when I know it's done.
You're having me on.
Ha! You need to eat in more Ferelden inns.
Known people who cook like that. Key to the city. Zoning commission report doesn't sound that interesting. Be wrong, but Alistair need the dex for? Why did I start giving him dex? There was some reason I gave him some dex. Oh, something required it. Skills are so useless. I don't pickpocket, don't make traps. I only need one person to make a couple basic potions. He doesn't have enough cunning for another combat tactic. It doesn't need it either. Fine, I'm not even gonna spend it. Forget it. That's what it was for. Shield mastery. Going back, we're gonna grab it. Shield mastery. Likewise, specialization. He's got another specialization. I haven't put any points into Templar. I think I'm gonna start putting points into something else. Maybe it's... You've played Dragon Age 1 and 2. For the moment, forget Inquisition. But just thinking about Dragon Age 1 and 2 and the skill trees in them. You like how they changed things for Dragon Age 2? Visually different, but a lot of the same skills are there. They reduced the possibilities, though. Quite a few less. I think there are quite a few less spells and various talents. They made the ones they kept work very well, but just there's so much extraneous stuff here. It's all very cool, but I have never in all my playthroughs messed with more than 20% of the skills.
It is the Assembly
talents.
who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Balin incite a riot.
Not speak that way about the man who should be king!
Dwarven politics.
I won't have fighting in the cup.
No one is born with rights to the throne. The sitting king may recommend a successor, but the Assembly ultimately decides who will rule. House Harrowmont is one of the oldest noble houses, as old as Orzammar itself. Endrin's most trusted advisor, Harrowmont is well known for being an able administrator and the author of many compromises in the ever-warring Assembly.
Especially in front of outsiders.
Vieta, Surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I want order.
The Blight is coming! The Blight is coming! Your city really function like this?
See, that's why I don't want you surfacers seeing our worst. You'll think that's all we are. The market is thin, but busy, and the tavern never closes. Bad blood is usually kept to the proving. Should toss Balin and Harrowmont in there. Sort this all out in a hurry.
The proving?
Personal battles for honor and ancestor. I don't expect a surfacer to understand. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter.
Sounds like Balin and Harrowmont are the ones to talk to, though.
They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Balin speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the Assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Doolin Ferender from his estate.
He's at the bar. Mention paragons.
Surfacers appoint no paragons? Truly, you're lost in all that sky. They are the best of us, declared living ancestors. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter.
But the Blight is coming. Everybody, wolves!
Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here.
I should go.
Yes, you should.
Where did they put all the rock, I wonder?
That's a good point. Where did it go? Alright, let's run through this too. I'm not reading everything I pick up, but I'm definitely some of the bigs here. And a lot of these that I've been reading during this playthrough, I've never read before. I've never spent that much time reading the Codex. Mostly well written, so if you like lore and you play this game, I suggest that you dig through it. Look at how many sections there are. Let me close it up. Creatures, items, magic, religion, culture and history, characters, books and songs, notes, spell combinations. Sorry, some of this stuff is a little more tutorial-ish, but from books and songs on up. 35, 30, 69, 41, 18. Lots of codex entries. Cool stuff. Which was this? Just closed the one I was looking at. Culture and history, possibly. Well, now I'm never going to find it again. God, City of Orzammar, I found it. Wow. 138, I didn't take note of the number. The dwarves. The dwarves are lauded for their craftsmanship, and the City of Orzammar is one of their finest works. Orzammar lies at the heart of the Frostback Mountains, deep underground. The city arcs outward from the royal palace. It is built around a natural lava vent, continually fountaining liquid rock. Both lights and heats the entire cavern. The topmost tier of Orzammar is home to the noble caste, with their palaces fanning out in both directions from the court of the king, as well as the Shaperate, serves as a repository for all dwarven knowledge. Lower tier is the Commons, where the merchant caste holds sway and where the finest works of Orzammar's craftsmen are for sale. The center of the River of Lava, connected to the Commons by a causeway, are the Proving Grounds, a sacred arena where the dwarves, by ancient tradition, settle their disputes. On one side of the fiery river are the ruins of old dwarven palaces, fallen into disrepair, which the locals call Dust Town, now home to the city's casteless. On the other side of the river are the Deep Roads, which once joined the sprawling dwarven empire together, but now after centuries of darkspawn incursions are largely sealed off. Nearly all knowledge of this network of underground passages has been lost, even to its builders. Hello, T Street. What's happening? Not 24 hours, sorry. Normal stream, 8 hours, so about 3.5 to go or so, something like that. We just got to Orzammar. Orzammar is a big chunk of the game. There's a lot going on here, and then we Dust Town and Deep Roads. We're going to be in Orzammar for the rest of the stream today, and part of the stream on Tuesday. Tomorrow we're playing something else. Just a reminder, we're going to be playing XCOM 2 tomorrow. I have not played it before. Played a little bit of the previous one, but so come join in if you've got time tomorrow. If you like XCOM or you just feel like getting involved a little bit. XCOM games have this neat, if you've never seen them or played them, they have this neat feature where you can, it's not just that you can name all of your squad mates, it's that you name your squad mates and then you build them up and they have an actual chance of dying, permanently dying throughout the game. So you build up a squad and you can name them after your friends or your enemies or family members, whatever. Well, I'm gonna get you all killed tomorrow, and I hope you'll join me for that. Be fun. Everyone's gonna die. Good times.
Excuse me, do you have a moment?
Why not? We'll talk to Dagna first. Dagna's one of my favorite people here in Orzammar.
You look like you're not from around here.
And you look native. You could say that.
Oh, wonderful. I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle?
Of course I've heard of the Circle. Why is a dwarf interested in the Circle?
I've been trying to reach someone there for years. I've sent missives with every caravan, but I never get a reply. I want to know if they would accept me for study.
Would you like me to ask them? You're crazy, Dagna. Don't you know dwarves don't do magic? Why wouldn't they?
No dwarf has ever studied at the Circle of Magi. I guess you never read First Enchanter Caitlin's treatise concerning dwarfs and the non-heritability of magic. He tested dwarfs from 20 bloodlines and found they couldn't perform any level of spell casting, regardless of lyrium exposure or time on the surface. The Circle speculates that lyrium in the stone shields us from spiritual influences, and over time made us immune to them.
He's a little chatterbox. Right, of course I read that. Why don't you read about axes and ale like a proper dwarf?
I want to go to the Circle to study.
I assure you that desire will depart the moment you arrive.
I don't want to do magic. No dwarf can cast spells, but I don't see why I shouldn't study it. It would be a valuable exchange. Orzammar would learn of one of the great natural forces of the surface. And the Circle gains direct access to our knowledge of lyrium smithing.
I'll bring the Circle your request, Dagna.
That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcast. Tell them I've already begun reading the Tevinter Imperiums for Tikum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Magister Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child?
She's so enthusiastic and adorable. I'm glad we're helping her.
Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting.
She's gonna pack her bags already. Awesome. Off to pack her bags. She's gonna wait until we leave Orzammar, travel to the Circle Tower, ask them if she can be an apprentice. Presuming they will say yes, she's going to pack her bags today. Right now. Before dinner. Oh, Dagna.
I knew I should have stuck to common
How you doing,
nugs.
Celador?
I've gone and lost them too. I'll never find them the way they skitter.
Common nugs. I don't like those. They look
I know you've been here,
dirty.
but...
No way I'm going
Quiet,
back to that supplier at Dust Town. Guess I'm shutting it down.
Are they dangerous?
Gotta boil them before roasting, but otherwise no, safe as sand. Some people swear they make good pets. May as well leash a turnip, I say.
I see any nugs. Can't have them. I'll send them your way.
Good on you, stranger. Only need one to turn this around.
Asgat, I like that one. You know, if we keep this up, they're gonna send us to the old joke home. Points for that one. I love this guy too. These are awesome. Check out Garen.
Greetings, and welcome to Garen Garrison's
Zoltan.
luxury goods shop. Wow, there are a lot of you. And I've never seen one of those before. The things they come up with. What was I saying?
Never seen one of what before? Have a look at my shop, I hope. Are you all right?
Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Most people don't anymore. Or maybe they're too polite to mention it. I had a little incident a few years back. Too much time with the raw lyrium ore, you know. Maybe it was a bad vein. I cut myself and the dust got straight in the blood. Since then, it's been a little hard for me to concentrate. Except when forging, then I'm straight as an arrow. Best work you've ever seen. Look around the shop. See for yourself.
I still don't understand what happened to you.
Well, it's the lyrium, you know. Raw blood of the earth. It's more alive than you and me. Most of the time, that's no problem. When it's all bundled up in a piece of steel, it'll leave you alone. But handling the ore directly, sometimes you get burned. It's not just your skin it takes off. It'll burn directly into your mind.
I thought dwarves were immune to the effects of lyrium.
Of course we are. Weak surfacers like you touch the raw ore, and you'll bleed from your eyeballs in hours. Weird seeing how big you are. Even surface dwarves lose it. Us down here, though, we should be able to handle it just fine. Only not too much, and not every day, and not breathing the dust, and not direct in the blood. Ancestors' own bad luck.
So, working with lyrium has made you completely crazy.
Not crazy, just a little forgetful. Don't worry, I'm fine when I work. Just look at my wares. I have the best blades here. Enchanted to hold fire, ice, anything you want to put in it.
Less misery. What did you miss? Let's see. Queen, we got armor made from Wade. I don't think you missed that much. I think you did. How you doing? Maybe I'll shop somewhere a little bit safer. Tell me what you got.
Best in the trade, you know. I work the ore myself.
Home of physical technique. I don't usually get here with so much coin. Check out Life Giver. 10 Constitution, 3 health regen in combat, 10 health regen while exploring, 3 armor. And then there's that 20% healing effects received mod that I don't think that works. But even without that, look at Life Giver. Awesome ring. 10 Constitution. Probably worth 87 gold. Gift items here. Crystals for shale. Huh, the Rose's Thorn. Look at this dagger. It has 3 rune slots. Gear 7 Dragonbone, 3 rune slots, 2 dex, 1 health regen in combat, 3 extra damage, 30% critical backstab damage. That's a lot of... I would only have, what, 21, 22 sovereigns left after that. Had to go to work, had to go into work, missed over an hour. Well, if it was an hour, hour and a half, I don't think you missed too much. There was a lot of in-between stuff from the Urn of Sacred Ashes to getting here. Hold on, before I walk away from this side of town. We're gonna be going through into the Diamond Quarter soon, but... Igor's is not open right now. This is a Nug! What did you think I looked like? This is a Nug. You wrangle the Nug into a box. Ready for delivery to Barmar. We also won't be going into the Proving Grounds quite yet, but I want to walk down to the end of the bridge.
So, you met this sibling of yours?
Half-sister, but yes.
And she turned out to be an insufferable hag?
You'd have liked her. You two have a lot in common.
And you let her berate you without punishment?
It's moments like this when I truly appreciate the difference between you and me.
It is moments like this when I truly wonder at the difference between you and a toadstool.
Did sort of. And it was good. Oh. I filled the dish with Rocky Road during the break, and then with about 2 minutes left, and it was done, I went back downstairs and filled the dish again, and I just wolfed down another dish of it. It was so good. Forgot to click on that document when it popped up. I don't know which one it was. I'm never going to find it in my codex. It's a shame, but I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to be able to find it.
I shall do it.
Paul Kirby. Dwarves of Orzammar are quite unlike those found in most human cities. Although Orzammar derives its vast wealth from trade with human kingdoms, all dwarves who come to the surface to trade are stripped of their position in society. Dwarven merchants are so ubiquitous in human cities that many people labor under the impression that all dwarves are merchants, or that their whole race worships coin and trade. But these surface dwarves are atypical creatures, the ones willing to give up all ties to their kin and sacrifice their rank in order to conduct business. Below ground, the dwarves are a people obsessed with honor, their own and that of their family. Most nobles incorporate chainmail even into formal gowns because slights and insults often turn deadly. Going with that, there are people who revere excellence and strive to achieve it in all things. Even members of the servant caste have been elevated to paragons, usually posthumously, recognition of remarkable service.
Welcome to Janar Family Armorers. I must say, you look like our type of people. Looking for a new set of mail? At Janar's, we have everything from leather to platinum.
So you're part of the Smith caste, then?
Aye, for 100 generations. My father made his name by inventing a fold and tacet, which were integrated into the cuirass. But, I'm guessing by your face, you're not a smith yourself.
You know what's going on with the king?
I stay out of politics. It's not good for a smith to get the attention of those who grant vendors licenses. Lord Harrowmont's a fair man. My father did business with him, and he always paid on time. But the Idukans have served us well. If it is the ancestors' wisdom to keep them on the throne, I cannot object.
You can ask him about his daughter. I don't want to... He's not going to be pleased if we tell him what's going on with Dagna, what Dagna wants to go to the Circle and study magic, even though she can't actually perform magic. Let's not piss him off right now. Show me what's in your store.
Of course. Keep in mind, we also take items on trade.
Things are getting expensive. Plain old items are... Sorry, I'm getting the hiccups from, I guess, all the beef jerky. Beef jerky gave me hiccups? That doesn't make sense. There are all these items that are just generic and cost 10, 20 sovereigns. Buy generic items. They might be high tier, but they're not. They're definitely not better than most of the named items. There's so many named items in this game. I hear the squeak of a nug.
It's about time the Darkspawn started attacking the surface. They bothered us for far too long.
Ancestors, guard my son, for he is lost in darkness. Mothers, keep him safe, for you know what it is to mourn.
Got an interesting side quest. Wrangle the nug into a box.
I'm sorry. Did you have an offering for the ancestors? Although, I can't imagine your ancestors reside in the stone.
What were you praying for?
My name is Vilda, widow of Turok of the Smith caste. I pray here every day for my son, Ruck. I only wish I knew whether I should be asking for his safe return or for the ancestors to accept his soul.
What is it that you don't know whether he's dead or alive? Missing?
It was 5 years ago. He was only a youngster. He joined a Deep Roads excursion, the only smith to go with the warriors to repair their arms. He was so proud, but he got separated somehow. When they came home, he wasn't with them.
I'd be happy to, KJ. I don't know that I'm the lore master here, but if we pick up lots of good codex entries, and I'm sure we do, I know we will, I will dig into them and read all of them that seem relevant. Dwarven lore is excellent in the Dragon Age world, and it is multi-layered. It's not just politics. There's lots of fascinating ancient traditions and issues. And you want me to look for him? Didn't anyone go after him? The Deep Roads?
The Deep Roads are where Darkspawn come from. They descend for miles into the earth, and we must patrol them constantly or be overrun. I lost my husband to them. If I lost my son the same way...
I don't think we should abandon him. Keep an eye out for him.
How? There is no way except to brave the deep roads yourself.
Crazy, I know, right? Guess what? We're gonna be going there. I'm a Grey Warden, it's what we do.
A warden? So you could do it. Only wardens face the deep roads without a company packing them.
I would
thank you.
need
The
some
ancestors
people.
finally heed my prayers. Please, find me as soon as you return.
What is that smell? Dwarven vomit. Charming.
We're outside the tavern.
Topsiders? Good. Get some outside gold in here. Calm people down. Make them think we should open the gates for good. The more cracks in the old way, the better. That's what Balin stands for.
Your allegiance to Balin, that's pretty clear. Why? You approve of all this chaos?
Can't find ore without splitting some stone. My investments are solid, I'll be fine. The Assembly has done us a favor. They've shown just how loose the sand is under our feet. It opens people to change.
There's a blight coming. Orzammar can't be divided. You'll get crushed.
Orzammar will decide what we can or can't be. Blight may be imminent on the surface, but our warriors are well seasoned against dark spawn. There will be topsiders left for trade. There's no end to you.
Probably true. Your allegiance is clear. Why?
Not your business, but I see where the gold is. He's the traditional pick, yet he wants a new way, whether some like it or not.
Some say Balin killed his father, though.
Just as many say Harrowmont. Neither are paragons, and the scales being equal, I go with the promise of more trade.
Follow the money, huh? Let me see what you've got.
I'll take your gold. You're good for that.
Oh, thanks. I'll take your head and then your loot. This is one of my favorite pieces of armor in the game. It's simple, it's not that expensive, 20 sovereigns. Shadow of the Empire. Drakeskin, tier 7. It's better than, unless you're looking for fire resist, it's better than what Wade produces in Drakeskin. Nice armor, 2 strength, 2 dex, stamina regen in combat. It looks almost exactly like the battle dress of the Provocateur that I'm wearing. So what I think I'll do is give that to Leliana. Get that and give it to Leliana. Or we just leave Leliana in. I think she's wearing tier 2 or 3 Dalish armor. It's not very good. Looks good on her. It's not very good though. Get her a gift and some new armor. How about that? That armor has its own codex entry. The Crows of Antiva may be the most famous and most expensive of Thetis' assassins, but they are not the most active. That dubious honor belongs to the Shadows of the Emperor, the personal cadre of killers employed by the Throne of Orlais. Almost exclusively, the Shadows work against other noble families in Val Royeaux. No one knows who they are, not even the sitting Emperor, and some in the court dismiss them as only a myth. The assassins have slipped into aristocratic life working as palace servants, ladies-in-waiting, and on one notorious occasion, the Chamberlain himself. This armor was made for use by the Shadows whenever the grand game should wander out of hand. It's perfect, Leliana. Of course, we won't get to see her midriff anymore, but... he was wearing was... not suited for continued gameplay. Looked cool though. Their wall carving. Casts. So the caste system we've heard mentioned a few times and even had a little bit of a breakdown of is the structure of dwarven life. Visitors to Orzammar should keep in mind that the hierarchies of dwarven society are much more complex than our own. It is easy to gravely insult a man simply by mistaking his position. Since this can lead to unnecessary loss of life and limbs, I will attempt to mitigate the danger for my fellow travelers. The society of Orzammar is divided into nobles, warriors, smiths, artisans, miners, merchants, and servants. Now you are all undoubtedly saying to yourself, we have all those divisions among our own people. This is a dangerous misconception. Certainly we do have nobility, artisans, merchants, and those positions are largely inherited from our parents. However, the younger children of noblemen often choose to be artisans or soldiers. The sons of merchants may join the army or become servants or apprentice themselves to craftsmen. This is all freely chosen. Limited perhaps by the circumstances of birth, but still chosen. What is a matter of choice for most human folk is dictated entirely by birth for dwarves. No one may become a smith who is not born to smith caste parents. A servant who marries a noblewoman will never be a noble himself, and although his daughters would be nobles, his sons would be servants, for daughters inherit the caste of their mother, while sons inherit the caste of their father. Brother Genetivi has written so much. Seems that many of our codex entries throughout the land were all from books by Brother Genetivi. Brother Burkle. What a strange dwarf.
Maker's blessing on you, sister.
I didn't think dwarves believed in the Maker.
I'm Brother Burkle of the Red Cliff Chantry, returned to my ancestors' land to spread the chant of light.
Even in the very bowels of the earth, we hear no end of this chant.
And that is something to rejoice in, good sister. I'm petitioning to open a chantry in Orzammar.
Why do you need permission? Whose permission? Don't dwarves worship their ancestors?
There is resistance. It's obvious the world wasn't created by the mortal souls who dwelt within it. Yet the dwarves of Orzammar persist in worshipping their own forefathers.
Well, good luck with that. Whose permission do you need?
The Shaperid controls changes in Orzammar's structure and society. I need the Shaper of Memory's permission to open a prayer meeting.
Shaper?
The Shaper of Memories controls the Shaperid, Orzammar's record system. Like the
Shaper
Chantry's
controls the
historians,
Shaperid.
but more thorough.
Now think.
They track the births and lineage of every dwarf born in the city, every property sale, death in battle, marriage, or divorce.
Well, if I bump into the Shaper, I'll talk to him about it.
I can see the Maker's hand on your shoulder, guiding you always. Please let me know as soon as you've heard anything.
Have a drink. Tapster's Tavern.
I shall do it.
Apparently we're stuck on the...
I tried Dwarven Ale once. I thought it was just something they tricked surfacers into drinking, as a joke.
Atrust Vala, stranger. You must be the Grey Warden we heard about. Welcome to Tapsters. I'm Cora, your hostess. How may I serve you?
I'd like a drink.
With 52 types of ale, 17 types of
Whoa,
mead,
whoa,
and a dozen
whoa.
imported
Whoa.
wines, we should be able to serve your needs.
Whoa.
What do you have?
Beer. Some ale, some mead. A round of your best brew for myself and the house.
Someone's feeling generous. A round of Valentis Red for everyone. This, my friend, is the Paragon of Ales. The best your money can buy. Enjoy.
1 silver to buy everyone here a drink. Let's do it again.
Afternoon, stranger. You looking for a stool to share a brew?
You looking for a fist to share your face? Aww. His mismatched armor. Don't mind if I do.
I recommend the Lycan Ale. They brew it downstairs. Name's Naveen. I fight with Prince Balin's Expeditionary Field Unit. Yourself?
Oh, you're with Balin. You work for Balin?
I go where I'm sent, fight when I'm there, and leave politics where it belongs.
Good attitude. Attitude. Who's your unit fighting?
Darkspawn. Not much use in turning our weapons elsewhere while those vermin still live.
Ever been in the Deep Roads?
Every Grey Warden ends up there. That's where they send you when you're ready to leave this world. Go die in the dark, putting away as many vermin as you can. Getting more crowded these days, though. Lots of people interested all of a sudden. We go back tomorrow, and we're not the only ones.
Who's sending you out?
Balin ordered us in at first bell. He's splitting us into 4 teams to search for some of the lost tigers. Looking for signs of Branka, I guess. Seems to be who everyone's after.
Know a bit. Who's Branka? Tell us.
Branka was a paragon, some kind of great smith or whatnot. But she went batty
Wait,
and let her
or
whole house
whatnot?
into the Deep Roads more than 2 years ago. No chance she could have survived. And a lot of good men are gonna die looking for her corpse.
Or whatnot?
Excuse me. This brew is starting to taste awful bitter.
Aren't you supposed to know your paragons?
Dinna breka ansordans netek varaks gor helvarik. Parstaktis a parva gorda bindar dek tavir radik. Gorda shebna gorham raksa paragan veram gatrig.
They're everywhere! I can't take it!
Nervous adventurer? What's wrong?
Get away! You'll change like the rest! Monsters hidden in all my friends!
Monsters hidden in my friends? Is this Darkspawn corruption or just madness?
There's things older than Darkspawn. And once you're in the story, they find you. See? I found copies. All from the same pen, and older than the ones in song. Dormant my ass.
What are you
Take
talking
them.
about?
I want out. I won't disappear chasing a lie. I won't.
Unbound. Riders follow after every town, ever since my lucky break deciphering this story. See it now, how they take the locals closest to me, preventing rest or kinship. I thought this a road to glory, but I am dogged at every step by his talons. Gaxkang, curse his name in the day I learnt it, heard it. You asked, so I'm telling, don't go. The stories talk of the riches, but never the names, never where they supposedly spent their wealth. I heard the same tales as a lad in Denerim, felt the same pull. But it's a lie, son. They may paint a trail, but once you're on it, does it lead to the beast or back to you? 3 weathered parchments, 3 versions of the same incomplete story. Excerpt. When his kingdom fell, so disappeared the stolen riches of an age. The beast, the unbound, dormant until one of the true spirit claims his throne. So must hunt the hero of his people, the principled who would search for ancient evil. This is how they can make a real difference. Something is working behind the scenes in Ferelden. Notes you have acquired from dead or terrified adventurers point to an ancient evil, or at least an ancient man telling stories of an ancient evil. You have cause to speak with Willem Maedon. Willem Maedon, who lives somewhere in Denerim. I don't know why that one's not familiar to me. I remember that NPC. I don't remember.
I don't understand why the provings aren't open to
West.
everyone. I mean, it's how the ancestors show their favor. Do they really need our help to decide who's worthy? And then he practically slapped me. Lord Dennick Helmy, honored Desher of the Orzammar Assembly, and terrible disappointment to my esteemed mother, who doesn't like me spending time in taverns. You understand what I'm saying, right? On the surface, there are no castes, and it works fine. Am I right, Warden?
There are no castes. I'm not sure it always works fine. Things are hardly equal on the surface.
But there are those like you who see this with concern, no? Well, I've taken the time to actually talk to the other castes. You know, most smiths and tavern keeps would make decent deshers if we gave them a chance and a seat in the assembly. Orzammar are so mired in tradition, no one bothers asking if the castes are even necessary.
So, you do get to vote on the next king?
Me and 79 other fine, upstanding examples of how someone who's born into every privilege inevitably wants more. They're not fond of my views on equality.
How does the caste system work? Anyways.
Badly. Oh, you're serious? Well, it's simple, I guess. The king and elected deshers of the assembly are at the top. Then it's the nobles. Then the warriors and all the craftsmen. At the bottom are servants. The casteless and criminals are below even that. Your caste is determined by that of your same-sex parent. And that's where you stay your whole life, whatever your skill.
Run off. I was talking.
As you wish. I wasn't expecting you back. I guess you realize this is about the only fun in Orzammar?
So what do you think about the candidates for king?
I doubt either candidate has been outside the Diamond Quarter in his life. But Lord Harrowmont seems a bit more forgiving. Prince Balin's brilliant, I'll give him that, and subtle as sin. But I don't think anything in Orzammar matters more to him than winning. As you wish.
I should go. Oh, that was a good little stop at the tavern. There's supposed to be someone there. Maybe I just mixed up the assistants. Harrowmont's assistant was not going to be at the tavern. I thought that's who we were going to run into there. Oh well. Heading into the Diamond Quarter. We're going to go to the Shaperate. To turn in the nugs we found.
Go on, I'm out of the nug game. Got nothing to sell.
You do now. Nugs.
Zaraka, I'm back in the game, such as it is. I don't have much besides gratitude, but find a bunch more of these
Just
and I'll toss you whatever I found.
They pull me back in. Maces, mauls do more damage against heavy armor than swords. That was on the loading screen. We don't usually have long enough loading screens to really read the tips, but think about that for a second. I run around with my swords and arrows and spells, but I don't really switch up my weapon types based on who I'm fighting. There's so many things you can do for combat advantages, and I don't usually do them. They're there.
Ah, the social strata quickly makes itself evident no matter where one goes.
You have come at a difficult time. Orzammar is ailing for want of a king.
Questions arise regarding Lord Balin's impending marriage. Was Captain Summer favored to the castless suspected?
It's the first door we could go into. Harrowmont's estate. Yeah, that one was closed. Harrowmont's estate, Shaperate, the The assembly, it's all over here. There's quite a few things over here.
Welcome to Lord Harrowmont's estate.
Got a cool fish tank. No fish in it though. Cool tank then. Or is that just rocks? Running through his estate. We're just robbing him. It's okay. We're gonna help him too. We're gonna rob him, and then we're gonna help him.
As you say.
39 ice arrows.
Greetings, Grey Warden.
You must be under great strain with the blight upon the land. I will pray to the stone for you.
At a young Lord Harrowmont.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Forrender, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help.
I would speak with Lord Harrowmont.
In an ordinary time, Lord Harrowmont would be honored to meet you. Unfortunately, we've already caught more than one of Balin's spies approaching Harrowmont under a pretense of friendship. So I'm afraid I won't be able to take your word. If you want to speak to Harrowmont, you will need to prove he can trust you.
And how do I do that exactly? What do you want me to do? Publicly denounce Balin?
If you wish to show you have no loyalty to Balin, then work against him in Harrowmont's name. Balin is hosting a proving today, supposedly to honor his father's memory. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down.
You want me to find out why your fighters dropped out?
That would be enlightening. Though I hope you won't pry too deeply into things they don't wish revealed. If you wish to show your loyalty, enter the proving as his lordship's champion. With your order's reputation, I've no doubt the ancestors would favor your arm. Balin would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then.
I'll enter the proving. I'll find out why they withdrew.
Excellent. The arena is located off the Commons. Talk to the proving master and tell him you're entering Lord Harrowmont's roster. The key fighters we lost were Guidon and Baisel. You can look for them in the fighters' preparation chambers behind the ring. And be sure it's before the fights begin. After the first bout, no one may change the roster. If you need to find me again, I will wait in the Tapster's Tavern off the Commons.
That's why I thought I would find him in the tavern.
There is no better place to hear gossip. Perhaps even word of your victory.
Okay. Thought I would find him in the tavern. We will find him in the tavern. Ah, dwarves. We're gonna have to pick a side. And we don't have to pick it fully immediately, but we're pretty much committing to it now. And the thing is, we walked in, Balin was murdering someone in the town square and insisting that he be king. Ostensibly, the king already picked a successor, and I'm not here trying to rock the boat and change dwarven traditions, although you do have the option of trying to rock the boat and change dwarven traditions. Do that if you want. I might be interested in rocking the boat.
It's an insult to King Endrin's memory.
But not for Balin. Not for the guy who murders someone as we walk into town. They have a little debate, so let's just knock him down and kill him. Then I'll be leader. And if you don't let me, I'll kill you too. Yeah, not supporting that guy. House Educan, Shield of Orzammar. The Assembly has never named a paragon with so little disagreement as there was for Paragon Educan. No naysayers, only a single abstention. His worthiness was unquestionable, his favor with the ancestors clear. But family rumor says that the man himself was deeply troubled, prone to fits of melancholy and self-doubt. Never satisfied with his great achievement in protecting Orzammar, he died cursing that he had not managed to save the outlying Taigs. Before he rose to Paragon, he was of little note. Memories tell us that he never entered a single proving, never sought to elevate his place among the warrior caste. Spent most of his years prior to the first Blight fighting skirmishes in the deep roads, keeping them free from surface bandits, and to live quietly with his wife and daughters. When the Blight began, it caught Orzammar in the midst of a vicious interhouse war. Sort of like now. Most of the warrior caste was caught up in the feuding, for as word of attacks poured in, each great house demanded that the army be sent to defend their Taig. And no house would agree to sacrifice their own holdings for the safety of any others. The assembly was so utterly tied up with the infighting that the Darkspawn spread, unchecked, to the gates of Orzammar itself. In the chaos, Ejuken grudgingly took command of the armies. He enlisted the aid of the mining caste to collapse overrun passages, called upon the smith caste to supply them with arms, and bypassed the assembly and the nobles entirely. With his leadership, Orzammar was saved from annihilation. For his insubordination, he was made Paragon. Yet he always considered it a defeat.
News of the hour. Does Lord Haramon think that Orzammar can hold off the dwarves forever? The Assembly demands an answer.
Hold on. Royal Palace. Door didn't show, but alright. No door there. Looking for the Shaperate. I can't remember how far along it is. Chamber of the Assembly. All the way at the end, huh? Shaperate. There'll be a bunch of lore in here.
Thief! Who would dare take from the memories?
Did you call me a thief?
Warden, I'm outraged. A thief in the Shaperate. What have we been reduced to?
Slow down. What are you talking about? Get a good look at him.
I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head. Almost like he took pride in being casteless. Imagine. He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dusttown. They couldn't know the value.
Thief in the house. We'll get to Dusttown. Legion of Steel. Not sure I'll read all of these. There's 5 or 6, at least 5 or 6 in here. Just glance at what this is. Paragon Caridine vanished in the 11th year of the reign of King Valtor, and with the Paragon, the entire process for golem manufacture was lost. Expeditions were sent into the deep roads to track him, but the Darkspawn drove them all back. Finally, in the 2nd year of the reign of Queen Getha, 126 golems, the entire Legion of Steel, were sent to recover the Paragon. None returned. The Shaper of Golems refused to support any further attempts to find Caridine, and the Paragon was officially declared dead. The Shaperate never recovered from the loss of an entire legion of golems, and never again allowed an all-golem regiment into the... Porta!
Oh, pardon me. Were you looking for a particular volume? Not that I could really help. I, don't know the libraries very well. I'm just doing some research.
What kind?
I was looking for something about the Ortan Taig. It was lost during the last Blight, and there aren't many records left. They were a noble house once, descended from the Paragon Ortan, who composed the grand epic of the Seven Brothers and the Ortonic Symphony. My mother's family believes they were descended from Kalana Ortan, who was training in Orzammar when the Taig fell. I'm even named for the house, Orta. Unfortunately, any records would be buried in the Taig's ruins, somewhere in the deep roads.
The good news is, I'll be going there. Grey Warden. Goes.
A Grey Warden? Mother always said that if anyone could find the Taig, it was the Wardens. I hear Prince Balin and Lord Harrimont have both been sending out small teams these days. Yes, if you can find the Taig in any records, that could do it. That could prove I'm a noble. If you could. Maybe now that you're looking. It's almost too much to hope.
Talk to the Shaper after we finish looking through his books. Deep Roads. There isn't a dwarf alive who remembers the Deep Roads as they once were. Before I read this. Steph, good. You were talking to Lamia, but good. Good here. It's been quiet for the past while. I'm actually feeling a little bit wiped out like I was earlier this week, but it came up on me quickly today. Again, I mean, I had a lot of energy at the beginning of the stream. I think I need a cup of coffee. Like dinner time here, but I've been trying to lay off the beer this week, or at least cut way back. I was just getting too foggy too much of the time again. Ugh. And then I was just so exhausted in the middle of the week. Started just losing it. Just losing it. That's why I didn't stream on Wednesday. Oh well. There isn't a dwarf alive who remembers the Deep Roads as they once were. We're a network of tunnels that join the Taigs together. To be honest, it isn't even right to give them such a simple term as tunnels. They're works of art, centuries of planning demonstrated in the geometry of their walls, with the statues of the paragons that watch over travelers, with the flow of lava that keeps the Deep Roads lit and warm. The cloud gazers up on the surface talk of the Imperial Highway built by the Magisters of old, a raised walkway that crossed thousands of miles, something that could only have been built by magic. Perhaps it is comparable to the Deep Roads, although we dwarves didn't need magic. I suppose it doesn't matter anymore. Darkspawn rule the Deep Roads now. When Orzammar sealed off the entrances to the Deep Roads, abandoning everything that lay out there, we handed over the kingdom that was, those black bastards forever, to think that there are genlocks crawling over Bonamar now, tearing down our statues and defiling our greatest works. Corruption covers everything we built out there. Every dwarf who goes out and comes back says that it gets worse with each passing year. The foulness spread a little further. And the cloud gazers think the Darkspawn are gone just because they aren't spilling out onto the surface? Huh. One day when Orzammar is gone for good, they'll find out how differently. They'll find out differently. Those Darkspawn won't have anywhere else to go but up, and they'll do it. The surface folk will have themselves a blight never end. Thank you, Shadow Dragon. KJ, are you enjoying the lore? I'm totally gonna put on a cup of coffee. Give me 1 sec, it's right here. Sec. I really like the lore. I think it's weird because they're both exposition and text, and talking to NPCs that I've spoken to so many times before and hearing them repeat their dialogue puts me in a bit of a daze, just because I can't hear it, and it's not new information, you know. It is repetitious, even if it's interesting, but it reaches a point where it's hard to pay attention to it with the same level of interest. This stuff, on the other hand, in the Codex, I have most of them never read, and some of them maybe read, but I don't know. Much more engaging than the quest dialogue is all these Codex entries. I don't know if you feel the same, but 1 sec. 1, 3 or 4 more.
I shall do it.
I must read the book from this side. And you still failed. Come on. It's right there. Orzammar politics. Dangerous as it is to mistake a dwarf's caste, it is far more deadly to mistake his alliances among the noble houses of Orzammar. Everyone in the city is allied with someone, whether by blood or word. The nobles do not engage directly in commerce themselves, as that is the domain of the merchant caste, but they do serve as patrons. They invest in shops or artisans' work, and in turn reap a share of the profits as well as a measure of the credit. Merchants and warriors alike benefit from the service of a prestigious patron. The relative power of each house is ever-changing. Usually safe to assume that whatever noble house holds the throne is at the top of the heap, but below that things grow into a tangled mess. Houses ally with one another by marriage. They earn rank and prestige when combatants loyal to them or from their own bloodlines win provings. They earn it when artisans they patronize become sought after or well regarded, or when the merchants they invest in become successful. There are stains on this page. It's not making it easier to read. Also, like quite some distance from me here. They earn it when artisans they patronize become sought after or well regarded, or when the merchants they invest in become successful. Degrees of power that these achievements confer is so murky, even to the dwarves, that it isn't unusual for nobles to challenge each another, to provings over whose smith forges better belt buckles, or whose servants have the best manners. Nor is it out of the ordinary to find two merchants arguing over whose noble patron has won the most acclaim, for the ranks of the patron is the rank of the client. Rank of the patron is the rank of the client. Nor is this more apparent than in the assembly, where the Deshers, representatives of each noble house, meet. Although the king technically rules Orzammar, kings are elected by the assembly, and so each king must work constantly to maintain the support of the Deshers. Kings who prove unpopular find their heirs deemed unacceptable to inherit the throne. Power then passes to another house. That's not quite what's taking place in Orzammar right now. All of memories, the Shaper's life, and coffee. Blessing of the Shaperit is given only to those who walk with the stone. Path that cuts deep, the road is far from secure, but those who desire to work in memory must first honor it. Document the stone, protect her, and present a new history to the memories. Only then will the blessing of the Shaperit be upon you. Shaper's life.
Message coming in. Patching it through.
Whoa! Whoa! X-Water, what's happening? Good lord! X-Water and friends, welcome. Welcome everyone. X-Water and a whole gaggle of friends just came through. Thank you for that awesome host. What's going on, man? Welcome. L.A. Noire. L.A. Noire. Detective Mickey's on the case. Oh, L.A. Noire. I wouldn't have guessed. I don't know. I mean, I know you play lots of different games. When did you start playing L.A. Noire? I really like that one. Zelda fan with the caps. Detective Mikers is on the case. Hey, it's all good. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for that host. Everybody give X-Water a follow, please. Excellent streamer and lots of fun. Spread the chaos and the love. Oh, so what's going on, everyone? Just made myself a cup of coffee because I've been sitting here talking to dwarves for the past while. Playing Dragon Age Origins. We just got to Orzammar. We've cashed in our treaties with the Dalish elves and the mages of the Circle Tower. We've awoke Arl Eamon from his poison-induced coma. And here we are in Orzammar, trying to get the help of the dwarves. Lauren, thank you for the follow, Lauren. Lauren Lennox, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. So I'm reading through the lore that we're picking up in the Shaperit right now.
It is begun.
Gloves of Diligence.
As you say.
You did a black and white cam yourself today since it's a 1940s themed game. True inspiration from me. Cheers, man. Cheers. But maybe you already said, let me scroll back here. Are you enjoying it, though? I had fun with that one. I played through it not quite 2 full times. Well before I started streaming. Oh, did anyone see what codex it said it was? It popped up, I didn't click on it. If I go now to the codex, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to figure out which one I just picked up. Oh, screwed that one up. There's so many blinking. I mean, I haven't read everything. There's hundreds of codex entries. Some of them quite long. One, quest related. Culture and history. You saw the name and you remember it. Stop, pop up, let me know. Otherwise, we'll call that one a loss for now.
I shall do it.
Dwarven Faith. The Chant of Light is almost never heard in the halls of Orzammar. This is hardly surprising, for unlike the elves, who were literally abandoned by their gods, or the Tevinters, who worship dragons, the dwarves have no gods at all. Even the concept of worship is foreign in Orzammar. Instead, the dwarves seem to venerate the stone, a name they give to the earth itself. This seems practical for people living underground, if perhaps a bit unimaginative. For guidance in spiritual matters, they turn to their ancestors. These ancestors, who are said to have returned to the stone, communicate their wishes to the living via brutal trials by combat called provings. The ancestors' collective wisdom is maintained by the Shaperit, which can apparently store records in Lyrium itself. Alright, have a great night. X-Water, lurk on. Have fun. The friend, buddy's coming by tonight. Have a great weekend. Cheers. Thank you again for coming by. Set above the ancestors, even above the kings, are the paragons. Dwarves who have achieved such greatness they are elevated almost to godhood. These are the great figures holding up the hallway that leads from the surface, the first glimpse of Orzammar that outsiders see.
Very well.
Legion of the Dead. Yes, Stone's greetings, friend. You will fight ceaselessly in the Legion of the Dead. Motto of the Legion of the Dead. The Legion accepts all. So I was told by one of the Legionnaires himself, a dwarf who waited quietly at the entrance to the Deep Roads for the rest of his unit to assemble. They gathered slowly, each equipped with heavy armor and fine weapons, each painted with grim tattoos applied at their funerals the night previous. For that is the nature of the Legion. They are all dead. Any dwarf may join the Legion, so long as he's willing to give up everything he has. The funeral rites are somber. A final goodbye is said to the family and loved ones. Any material goods are dispersed to heirs. Last words are said, and then it is done. New Legionnaire marches out into the deep roads, never to return. The Legion fights against the Darkspawn to the last, striking one final blow against the monsters that have claimed so much of their homeland. Many join the Legion to clear the slate. Criminals join to avoid punishment. The dishonored join so that their homes and families need not suffer on their behalf. The bankrupted join so their debts might be forgiven. A very few join for a last chance at glory, but the Legion takes them too. This group hopes to reach the fabled fortress of Baunamar. Once the Legion's home, associated with the greatest of their paragons, Baunamar is a holy place. Its loss, the last great blow against the Dwarven kingdoms, and its recapture would be a glorious signal to all of Orzammar. But capture it or no, all of these warriors will die in the deep roads. It is a sobering thought, and now I know why the dwarves say the Legion's charge is the battlefield's most frightening sight. They have nothing left to lose. Praise of the humble Nug. Who doesn't like Nugs? I once served a human some nug, and he proclaimed that it was like eating an unholy union of pork and hair. The idea disturbed him so much that he declined to finish his serving and made himself content with some stale bread. Of course, this only goes to show that surfacers, human or otherwise, have tragically unrefined palates. The nug is surely the most delicious animal I have ever tasted. Only a dead man would not salivate at the thought of a tender morsel of roast nug melting in his mouth. The Paragon Varen, although his house has fallen, shall always be remembered for discovering the wonders of nug flesh. Admittedly, it was discovered only out of desperation, when he was separated from his legion and lost in the deep roads for a week, but we won't hold that against the good Paragon. While nug pancakes and nuggets, my own children love these, nuggets are nug dishes one encounters most often. Nug can be prepared in other interesting and elegant ways. The late King Ansgar Aducan adored nug, seared on a hot metal plate and finished in the oven, and dressed in a cream sauce flavored with deep mushrooms. You must be careful when using the mushrooms from the deep roads, because they often grow close to darkspawn bodies. They say that this is what gives them their unique flavor and intoxicating scent. It also means that consuming too many of them may result in curious afflictions of the mind. I've never read so much of this in all the times I've played the game.
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories.
Of memories?
The Shaperate guards Orzammar's knowledge. We have preserved in Lyrium all of the records of Dwarven history. The memories record all. They are how we know to which family a child owes life, how we trace lost hikes. They ensure we forget nothing of our past, good or bad.
Let's talk about Orzammar, Lord Shaper.
Ask, and I shall do my best to answer.
Because I've been reading the Codex entries, some of the dialogue is quite redundant. I'm still gonna run through this. I'd like to hear what he says about ancestors and paragons and the caste system, Orzammar's history. But if it sounds familiar from what I've just been reading, that's because it is.
All dwarves who die return to the stone as ancestors, to guide their families forever. But only one every few generations rises to paragon. A paragon is a dwarf whose accomplishments change Orzammar so much that the Assembly recognizes they've been born blessed. They are venerated as living ancestors and found a new noble house forever bearing their name.
And that's what Branka was.
Branka is a paragon, now and into death. She was born a smith, but her inventions caught the Assembly's eye. Before she had seen 20 years, she created a smokeless coal. It could burn in a cave without vents and no one would choke from it. It earned her paragon status.
Well, I know she's missing, but where is Branka now?
She went into the deep roads 2 years ago seeking out secrets of the ancient smiths. She never returned.
Sure, it goes way, 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 way back. But how did the caste system come to be?
According to our legends, 7 brothers founded our empire. The youngest, Bloadlik, was the wisest and was chosen king. His children formed the noble caste. The eldest, Giachet, trained his sons to defend their king. They became the warrior caste. Shotgyar founded the artisans. Orzatjar forged our first swords. It was Orzammar who dug the mines that became our city's foundations. The twins Koapar and Noct both founded trading houses, but Noct was wounded in battle. On his recovery, he swore to serve his brother's sons.
And the casteless?
The casteless descend from criminals and those repudiated by their own families, or who chose to go to the surface and live by human laws. They have no ancestors to guide them and no families to claim them. They should not have been born. Their parents defied their shame and brought cursed children into the world. It's better they die young.
Seems pretty easy for you to dismiss them.
Their births are not recorded in the memories. In Orzammar, they do not exist. Is there something more pleasant you wish to discuss?
Difference between an ancestor and a paragon, although we do know it quite well. Paragons are the living ancestors. Ancestors are ancestors. Paragons can be living ancestors.
All dwarves who die return to the stone as ancestors, to guide their families forever. But only one every few generations rises to paragon. A paragon is a dwarf whose accomplishments change Orzammar so much that the Assembly recognizes they've been born blessed. They are venerated as living ancestors and found a new noble house forever bearing their name.
Let's go back to my first questions.
Please, speak your mind.
On behalf of the Dwarven... the dwarf who wants to open a chantry here in Orzammar. The dwarves don't believe in this. Believe in the Maker, but he does. A few dwarves do. He'd like to open a chantry here. That I'd ask.
That is an odd request.
I agree.
Especially for one so new to our city.
Well, Brother Burkle, cleric of Redcliffe. Sure you know Brother Burkle. He's the one.
I thought so. This is not the first time he's made this plea. My answer to Brother Burkle hasn't changed. So I ask you the same. On what basis would you have me insult the ancestors and overturn 2,000 years of tradition?
Three persuasive options: cunning, persuade, intimidate. Chantries, charities could greatly aid Orzammar. What harm would it do? Would you rather wait for a human army to convert you? Rude. Sure. Doesn't work out so well for Burkle, but not a matter of which persuasion you use. Having a chantry in Orzammar doesn't work out so well for Burkle. We'll help him out. He thinks it's what he wants.
What sort of charities do you mean?
The, chantry will educate children of all castes. Really? As for widows and orphans? Widows and orphans.
Traditionally, that is their extended family's responsibility, but sometimes people fall through the cracks. Very well, he may hold a prayer meeting as he requested, if not build a new temple to his god. At least the words would come from one of our own. Now, is there anything more?
Nope.
I will record this conversation in the memories. I hope I do not come to regret it.
Small, it's not a huge part of the story. It doesn't bother me so much, but I do think it's weird that he makes a point of telling you it's 2,000 years of tradition. He's already said no. He's not going to overturn them because 2,000 years of tradition, and then he asks you why. Like, because charities. And then he says, well, that's already kind of taken care of. But okay, I'll overturn 2,000 years of tradition because you asked nicely or rudely or cleverly. I don't think there's any need for us to go into the assembly now. We can't do much there. We can do much of anything. It might be time to head towards the Proving, actually. Towards the Proving. Speak to the Lords of the Assembly. I guess we do need to go in there. We're probably going to be told there's nothing they can do at this time. Maybe I do need to make a visit, though. Vartag.
Warden, welcome. It is always a blessing for Orzammar to host your order. I am Vartag Gavorn, top advisor to our good Prince Balin. What news do you bring?
Know who I am?
It would be hard not to notice the Grey Warden and her eclectic entourage. I hear you seek the aid of Orzamar's finest.
Yes. This treaty obliges Orzammar to send troops to the surface.
Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now.
This is all just retreaded from conversations we've had with other dwarves. Is there something I can do to help?
My prince is the rightful king, but a disappointing number of lords back the upstart Harrimont for the throne. If you show your support for Prince Balin, he might be able to assist with your requests.
Not the king. King Endrin himself supported Harrimont.
That hurts worst of all. That Harrimont would take advantage of the dying king's delirium to plant such poisonous suspicions against his own son. After that, you understand why Balin cannot trust the word of a stranger, however reputable that stranger might be.
Pause there for a moment. It's a big if. If the previous king was not in a delirium with paranoias and suspicions influenced by Harrimont, then he chose Harrimont because he didn't trust his own son. And his paranoias and suspicions were his own. And as the story goes, told by some, Balin killed him. I just get a really creepy vibe from Balin and everyone. I have seen nothing to indicate that Balin is not the one who killed his father. In the name of progress, he killed his father, and in the name of progress, he tries to make Harrimont look like the deceiver. Ugh. I will have to seek my aid from Harrimont instead.
Wait, we must be cautious about whom to trust. But perhaps we could find a way. Harrimont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion
this is not
to ensure
Balin,
that every
but
house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrimont's deception, I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Well, what kind of evidence are we talking about here?
Harrimont promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Harrimont can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harrimont gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes.
Not gonna help with that, but that is pretty shitty. What? Politics are shitty. I don't really want to get involved in your politics. You're gonna force me to get involved in your politics, but I'm not going deeper. You get these notes? I'm curious.
That's not important. If they ask, say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty.
I have to think about it.
Don't expect this offer to last. If my prince hears you swore allegiance to his enemy, he won't be so friendly next time. I will be here if you change your mind.
I have detected a signal embedded in the static.
Rinoa, thank you for the follow. Welcome aboard. Cheers. How are you doing? Yeah. Over the years, I've probably spoken with a few people who side with Balin and have
enter quietly if
made the case. Not a fans of dwarven tradition. Any of the arguments that Balin will make about the old ways keeping the dwarves at a disadvantage in the world by not being more involved in the rest of the world. And there's maybe some merit there, but
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the surface trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Desha's lords and ladies of the Assembly, I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
Minish Cap.
And I suggest you have a
Never
taste
played
of my
Minish Cap.
family's mace.
I never played.
Enough. The Assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions.
Or no, I've never played Minish Cap. Is it first time playing it? Heard it's a good one too. Zelda Minish Cap. It is break time. It is break time. Here's where we're at in the quests here in Orzammar. We're going to be going to the Proving, I think, next. A lot of these are tied to the Deep Roads and some of these. Bring Dagna's request to the Circle of Magi. Can't do that while we're here. A Mother's Hope. Find Filda's son, Ruck. We won't find him until we're down in the Deep Roads. Ant in the Deeps. Help Brother Burkle establish a chantry. We actually just need to tell him that he's got approval. Lord's Trust. Win the Provings in Haramon's name and find out why his fighters dropped out. That's what we'll be doing after the break. Thief in the House of Learning. Track down the thief who stole a tome from the Shaperit. That's in Dusttown. We haven't made it to Dusttown yet. Actually, we might end up in Dusttown before the Proving. Lost to the Memories, find records of Orta's family in Orton Taig. Going into the Deep Roads at some point. Prince's favor, the first task. Decide if you will help Prince Balin's cause and inform Vartag of your intent. That's a no. That's a no. Minish Cap is good, Antonok. You didn't care for the shard trading thing. I don't know it well enough to know the shard trading thing. Shadow Dragon. Fantastic game. Well, cool. I'm glad it's fun. Anybody else super excited for the NES re-release in the fall? It's coming out within days of my birthday this year, and it's 30 preloaded games on like a miniature NES console with full-size NES controllers. We are gonna go through a lot of that. We're gonna have some retro days after that thing rolls out. Not like we can't already do that with emulators, and I've still got my Super Nintendo in the closet, but no, that's gonna be fun. It's got most of the games that over the years I always make sure I have an emulator with these games handy, and it's preloaded with like all my favorites. It's gonna be cool. I hope other people are excited for that. $60, 30 games, HDMI out. It's cool. I'm guessing most of you already know what I'm talking about, but if you didn't know that Nintendo was re-releasing the original NES console in like an all-digital miniature version in November, you gotta go look that thing up. Rinoa, Minish Cap feels like a mix between Ocarina and Wind Waker. I've played through, don't kill me here. I have not ever finished Ocarina. I've watched many people play it. I've never personally played through the whole game. And I've never played Wind Waker. I had the original NES gold cartridge for Legend of Zelda, and Link to the Past, and a few odds and ends over the years. And Twilight Princess. I really like Twilight Princess. And I got the HD version, and I haven't played it. That's another thing we've got to do sometime. I've mentioned it, and people haven't really jumped all over it and said, yeah, let's do that. But I do have, I don't even have a copy of Wind Waker, but I could get Wind Waker HD, and I have Twilight Princess HD ready to go sometime. Yeah, Link to the Past. It's just so good. Anyways, I'm rambling, drifting. It is break time. Give me about 10 minutes. I'll be back. We'll continue through Orzammar and maybe get to the Deep Roads tonight. And if you are taking off, have an excellent night. Great weekend. Tomorrow we're switching gears. We got a 12-hour stream tomorrow, but we won't be playing Dragon Age. We're going to be doing XCOM 2. It's going to be the start of XCOM 2 tomorrow. And then Tuesday we'll be back to Dragon Age, and we'll probably finish the main game on Tuesday and switch, move over to Awakening. Lay siege! Punked. Am I about to be sieged? Here we go. See you in a few.